Hi there, it's Lori and welcome back to my channel, Books, Ink, and Paper. It's a rainy day today. It's really dark and I can't help it. I need to film this video today because I'm participating in the True Crime Readathon. Now, the True Crime Readathon begins Tuesday, May 21st, and it ends the following week, May 28th. And the reason is because the creator of this True Crime Readathon really wanted to connect it to the release of a book that is written by some podcasters. So let me explain a little bit about the True Crime Readathon first, and then I'll share my TBR with you. So the True Crime Readathon is inspired by a podcast called My Favorite Murder. And I love this podcast as well. And it's hosted by Karen Kilgariff and Georgia Hardstark. And they are publishing a book, and it releases on May 28th. And the book is called Stay Sexy and Don't Get Murdered. So Rachaelisbooked, who is the booktuber that has created this True Crime Readathon, wanted to create a readathon that would coincide with the release of this book. And I think she got an advanced reader's copy. I did not. But it's interesting to me because I had a couple of nonfiction reads that I wanted to get to. I've created a nonfiction TBR. One of these True Crime Readathon books is on that TBR, so that's exciting. And I love true crime. I have loved true crime since I was a young person, and I've read Helter Skelter, although I want to reread it. I've read a lot of true crime books for a long, long time. So this is perfect for me. It really fits. And I'm only going to pick 3 books to read during this readathon that starts Tuesday, because I just feel like that's going to be enough. So I will link Rachel's announcement of the True Crime Readathon in the description box below. But here are the prompts and kind of what I'm using to read as one of these prompts. So the first one is Armchair Detective, what pulled you into true crime? I don't know that I'm reading anything that's going to fit that prompt, but probably the first book I can remember that pulled me into true crime was Helter Skelter, which is a pretty intense one. Maybe I'll reread that. I mean, I could, certainly. It's probably at the library. Let's just not add to the list. Police Academy, a nonviolent crime. For that read, I am choosing a book that I've had on my Kindle for a while and has interested me for a couple of reasons. 1, because it's set nearby where I live now, and 2, because it is definitely a nonviolent crime, and 3, because you can actually tour the place where he was incarcerated. So this book is called In the Sanctuary of Outcasts by Neil White. It is a memoir, and it really details his criminal activity, which is probably what you would refer to as white-collar crime. I think he embezzled and maybe misappropriated some funds. But he was then imprisoned in a local prison in Louisiana that was a leper colony turned into a prison. And so last summer, my friends and I were all going to read this book, and then we were going to go together to tour the prison, and it just didn't materialize. We couldn't make it work time-wise for all of us. I'd really like to still do that, and I'm going to tag my friends when I post this on Facebook and say, hey, why are we not doing this again? But we can't do it in the summer because it's way too hot to go to Louisiana and to a prison that's probably not air-conditioned in the summer. But In the Sanctuary of Outcasts by Neil White does fulfill the prompt, a nonviolent crime. Whatever Neil did, I do remember that it was nonviolent, and I think he is out of prison now. I don't think he's still in prison. The next prompt is police officer rank, and that's a hometown murder. And so I'm going to choose this book, and it will fulfill 2 prompts, as you'll see in a minute, but that is The Devil in the White City by Erik Larson. This was already on my nonfiction TBR. I've already chosen a bookmark for this book. I can also listen to it on audio, which is going to be important to me because the print of this particular copy is really tiny, and that makes it really it's hard to read a tiny print book for me. There are about 400 pages in this book, and this has been on my list for a while. I grew up in the Chicago area, and I've been to the Chicago Museum, and they have a diorama of the White City for the World's Fair. And so this follows the creation of the White City for the World's Fair in 1893. And it talks about the architects, which my daughter got a little bogged down in, and I get it. She didn't finish it, my partner did. But it also talks about H.H. Holmes, who was a serial killer. Put a pin in that for a minute. And I love Erik Larson, and it's already on my nonfiction TBR, so this is perfect for me. I get to do it. And it was also a National Book Award finalist. I got it for our son too, so maybe he'll read it with me. Maybe he'll buddy read with me. You never know. I could tag him too. The next one is a solved case, homicide detective. And for this prompt, this may be a bit of a stretch, but I'm going to read Columbine by David Cullen. Now, obviously, this case was solved pretty quickly because they were certain at the end of this school shooting who the perpetrators of the shooting were. This book's been out for a while, but a lot of people have been talking about it and reading it. I think Peter Likes Books did a month where they read this together, but it's recently the 20th anniversary of Columbine, the shooting at Columbine, and so it's been on my radar. My library had it available, so I requested it and went and picked it up the other day in anticipation of this readathon. So that one is going to fulfill that prompt, which is a solved case. I know it's a stretch. The next book on the list is Cold Case Detective, an unsolved murder, an unsolved crime. If I have time, which I doubt that I will, I'm going to pick up Lost Girls by Robert Kolker. A lot of people are reading this on BookTube. Some of my friends have read it. I wouldn't mind taking a look at it, but it's going to be at the bottom of my priority list for this readathon for sure. I don't even know. I haven't even looked to see where I can access it at this point. So that's how far it is on the priority list. The next prompt is it's FBI agent, so a book about a serial killer, and this will fulfill that prompt too. So this is a double win for me in that regard, and I'm excited to say that I'm going to take that one for 2 prompts. I think it's always good if you do a readathon, if you can find a book that will serve for more than 1 prompt, you're more likely to feel successful. The last prompt is Interpol, which is an international crime. And I had a little trouble figuring out what would fulfill this prompt, but I'm going to read Say Nothing, which is a true story of murder and memory in Northern Ireland by Patrick Radden Keefe. This is fairly new, and I found it on Overdrive at my library. I'm going to listen to it. And it is about the IRA and the people that were arrested and the families that were disrupted by bombings and by accusations and by just everything that was happening around the Irish Revolutionary Army. And I definitely think that I don't know a lot about this topic, and this has gotten some great reviews, and I am interested enough and intrigued enough about it to be able to add it to my TBR. We'll see how I do. Again, it's an audio for me. I do have The Devil in the White City on audio as well as ebook, as well as physical copy, so hopefully that'll keep me marching along with that. And Columbine is just, it's probably 400 or so pages. There's a pretty robust index and bibliography in this book as well. So in terms of actual reading, let's see, some notes, 358. So it's not terribly long. I feel like I can definitely get through that. And I've heard it's pretty compelling to read. A lot of people have read it very fast. So that's my True Crime Readathon TBR. And I'm just truly excited to take a look at some nonfiction for a solid week. I am reading 9 Perfect Strangers right now by Leanne Moriarty. I'm about halfway through that. I'm planning on finishing that before the True Crime Readathon begins, or close to it. So I'll devote the whole week from the 21st of May to the 28th of May to true crime. And if I make it through 3 to 4 books, I would be delighted by that. Thanks to Rachel for creating this neat readathon. And if you're participating in True Crime Readathon, please let me know in the comments below, and let me know what is on your TBR, or if you have a video, please link it so that other people can see it too. As always, I appreciate your support, your comments. I've had the best comments to a couple of videos of late, and it just warms my heart when I see them. I'm not kidding. It makes my day. I told somebody today, you've made my day again. And I really, truly mean it. So thanks again for your support, your comments, subscribing, liking, sharing. And as always, no matter how gray the day might be, in fact, because the day is gray, I hope you have a very happy reading day. Bye-bye.